Screamo, Screamo, Screamo. That's exactly what we are going to be talking about. It's only right I talk about this subgenre with someone who specializes in Screamoology. Hannah.
I don't specialize in Screamoology.
For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about when we say Screamo, let me give you a quick history lesson. Screamo started in the 90s. A subgenre to emo. Lots of screaming, lots of melodic riffs, lots of raw energy. That's pretty much it. And like Hannah said, she's not an expert. I am definitely not an expert, but we thought it would be a fun idea to just talk about a bunch of Screamo bands in the scene right now. So don't expect a bunch of 90s OG bands. So that's getting that out of the way. And the whole point of this video is to basically talk about the bands that we really enjoy. We might disagree, and to be honest, we're just gonna listen to each other, not fight back or anything like that. I hope. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Shout out Hannah for being in another video. So the first band that we want to talk about, or I'll talk about for now, is going to be Othiel. And Othiel, we've all talked about a bunch. I know she's talked about a bunch. She put me on and we went to a show. We talked about that in our last video with Alexa. And in my opinion, out of all of these bands, I feel like Othiel is probably the loudest in terms of the music that they have out. And I know all of these bands scream, but to me, this band is very explosive, like screaming like they're gonna die or something like that. That's the vibe I get and what I hear. And we've talked about how we saw them live, and that aspect is just something I feel like nobody can miss out on. So if you see them in your area, please check them out. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, Othiel was one of the first Screamo bands I got into.
They do have an album out called We Will Be Our Home, so if you want to check that out, do it.
This next band is Trains to Juniper. They just started releasing music.
Yeah, Trains to Juniper, we're gonna go see sometime soon in a couple days, I think. So I already know that they're gonna be good.
They don't have a lot of music out. What they do have out is Fire. They got 3 singles. Is that what they're called? I'm not a music master. They got 3 songs on the Spotify. My favorite is Where Are You? Should I sing it?
No. What the heck? I thought you were actually gonna start screaming. So that's all of our thoughts on Trains to Juniper. This next band, apparently I've been pronouncing their name wrong, and that's Edith Pike. So not Edith Pike, I apologize. And if I'm wrong again, well, whatever. With a lot of these bands, there's a lot of different energies. I feel like there's some positive with some bands' sound, and it might sound the same. To me, I get a different and darker vibe with this band. And not to say that there's a dark cloud hovering over this band, but that's the vibe I get whenever I put the song on from Edith Pike.
But I only listened to a few of their songs, but yeah. I don't have much to say.
This next band that I'm going to talk about is probably tied with Edith Pike in terms of being my favorite on this whole video list, and that's Phonefoot, an awesome band from Texas. They have a really good album called A Line Again, and I've talked about it on here as well, but you know, just another shout out to the band because I really enjoy their music. I love the melody. I love the screaming, obviously. Shout out Phonefoot.
Okay, a lot of the bands I'm going to talk about they have like Screamo influences, but they also are part of like other genres or whatever, you know? I had to put the disclaimer. Okay, first one, Infant Island. I just recently got into them. Their newest album, Obsidian Wreath. All the songs are like major bangers. I can listen to the whole album like through without having to skip. A lot of albums I have to skip because I'm like, that song sucks, but everything else is good. All the songs on it are good. Yeah, they're a mix of like black metal, shoegaze, and screamo. Burrow from Sepulchre EP. I don't know how to say that. The song is called Burrow though. And then One Eye Death from their Portrait from Beneath album are also bangers. And then Broken Pieces from their self-titled. They're from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Next band, I'm actually wearing their merch right now, is Snag. They're from Milwaukee. Their music's about like the climate and stuff. Climate anxious, heavy emo. I really like their music because it actually, well, I mean, everyone has a message, but I like their message a lot. Their music represents the terror of living in a world that doesn't seem to care about their future or its future. See my merch? Yeah, it's this patch. Oh, can't really stand. Oh my god. It's a patch from their single Invasive Species Cop City. They just, well, they didn't just release, but they have a split with Coma Regalium, which is another good screamo band. You should listen to them too. But my favorite songs off that are Evelyn and Lila. One of their, like, most popular songs, The Only Rational Response, is one of my all-time favorites ever, and that's the song that got me into them.
I'm gonna talk about the band called Ourbluewounds. This band I just talked about on TikTok, so if you want to go check that out, Dump Toes on TikTok. And fascinating band. This band has a lot of lo-fi elements, which I adore because it just adds that extra nostalgia to the whole music thing, and it just gives it a different type of sound and element and whatever word you want to use. I love how personal it feels, and it's a one-man Screamo band, so that's pretty cool just to see one guy have a whole vision. Ourbluewounds.
The next band we've both talked about a lot, and we talked about them in the other video we did with Alexa, but it's Palefade. My Palefade hat. I gotta shout Palefade out. Am I saying shout right?
You said shout Palefade out.
Okay, is that right?
Yeah.
I gotta shout Palefade out. That sounds so weird.
Palefade, we seen in person in Houston, Texas, I believe, right? Am I tripping? Yeah, we saw him. And I like the stage presence. The singer, I don't know his name personally, but...
It's Buckley. Hopefully I'm saying your name right.
Buckley, shout out Buckley. And his stage presence was very much erratic in a good way. I'm not talking trash. And to me, I can tell when a band has been around together for a while, and it felt like that band had a unique chemistry with each other. It felt like they've been rehearsing for probably years at this point. Big takeaway I have with Palefade, I liked what I heard, and they left a good taste in my mouth, but yeah.
I found out about Palefade through Othiel, so they're another one of the first Screamo bands I got into. My favorite song ever is Pinholes. I said yesterday in the video, or not yesterday, the other video, that it was This Is Real. That's my second favorite song. And my favorite album by them is Preterition. Hopefully I'm saying that right. My favorite songs off of Preterition are This Is Real and Cloud 62. Most recent album, Insurmountable Grief and the Loss of Everything Dear, is crazy. It's very heavy. My favorites off of that are Hushed Casket, Strain, and Collapser.
This next band I'm going to talk about is called Voluntary Violence. And one thing I noticed while listening to this band is with a lot of Screamo bands, they implement a lot of movie clips or TV clips and try to put their song afterwards. And I was like, why is this a thing? Not that that's a bad thing. I just thought it was very interesting how they incorporate movies and TV shows and just these Midwest emo-like intros.
The next band I'm going to talk about, sorry if I say your name wrong, Massa Nera. I also just got into them. Not like just, but you know. I'm really big into lyrics when I listen to songs. If the lyrics are weird, I don't listen to it because it makes me feel weird. And there's two songs in like specific that I can really relate to, A Faint Goodbye and Anchored. I connect with the lyrics heavy or whatever you say. I understand them because I went through it. And then another song I really like is Bloated. That's I think like their top song on Spotify right now, and then I also really like Provisional Euphoria. There's like one part of the song where they're like, in any ways, life is ephemeral, and just like the beat drop or whatever, it scratches my brain real good. Shout out Massa Nera. We had canes for breakfast the other day. It was crazy.
I forgot you like canes, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot we went like on a canes trip in Texas. That was funny. This is the last band on my list, and this is the band Foreverlikethestars. I found this band very aggressive, and what I mean by that is that it felt a lot more fast-paced. That might sound stupid, or maybe I'm catching a wrong vibe, but that's the things and vibes I listen to in my ears. My God, I sound like Alexa. Why did I say that? And that's basically all I have to say about this band. Very good when I listen to it. Very, very good when I listen to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about it. So I'm going to leave the keys to Hannah to talk about all the other bands on her list.
Next band that I'm talking about is Cicada. It's another one of the first Screamo bands I got into. They're from Sacramento. I'm pretty sure I heard about them on TikTok from their song Cuts in My Mouth. Probably my favorite song by them. It's like their most popular song, but it goes crazy. My favorite like release that they've ever done is their self-titled EP. Their most recent release, Cellar Door, goes crazy too. I was supposed to see them August or something of 2023, and they had to drop the show last minute, and I was like really sad because I was like, bruh, that was the only reason I was gonna go to this show. They went on like a little hiatus or something. I don't know the whole story, but we're gonna see them when we see To Juniper because they're playing with them on the 17th at Stay Gold in Oakland. I
also found Cicada on TikTok and that exact same song, and you know, I always enjoyed it, and the fact that they're from Sacramento is cool because dude, getting a new band that's near your area or like an hour away is always cool to see them get popular on TikTok or popular in general. Yo, that clip will go crazy. I'm like, I can't breathe, but it's like burping.
The next band I'm going to talk about is Brahm. Brahm. They're super underrated in my opinion, like extremely underrated. They're from the Bay Area and LA. 4-piece Screamo is what they call themselves. Fracture is my favorite song, but I like all their songs, honestly. Their newest EP is called I Try to Rage Against It. I don't know what else to say. I'm getting nervous. So shout out Brahm. Another band that I think is extremely underrated is Excrucis. They have one album out. The whole thing goes crazy. It's like this kind of the same as the Infant Island album I was talking about, where I can listen to the entire thing and not have to skip or anything. My favorites are Maudlin, Pirouette, One Must Make a Living, and Conspiracy of Solitude. Next band I'm going to be talking about is New Forms. They're from Boston, Massachusetts. Emo violence, Screamo, whatever. My favorite album by them is their As Dust Collects album. All the songs on it are pretty short, which I like. The longest song is like 2 minutes and 5 seconds long or something. But it's very fast-paced and loud, and it's another album I can listen to the entire thing without having to skip or anything. And I really like the vocals. The voice is like very unique, and it just like sounds really good to me. I don't know. It scratches my brain, you know? So shout out New Forms. Listen to New Forms. Okay, the last band on my list, even though these aren't all the bands I like a ton of bands, but I was trying to put my favorites, you know. Last one is Dim. They're from Georgia. I found out about them from their split with Catalyst, a 3-song split, and they have 2 of the songs on it, and then Catalyst has 1 of the songs on it. My favorite song by them is Home, which is also one of their most popular songs. But I really like the lyric. It says, like, I think about you all the time. Okay, I thought my list was super long, which it was, but I just love screaming music. There are a lot of other bands I like. You can go to my playlist on Spotify if you want to know.
So
you gotta
have to put your Spotify in?
Go to my Instagram, and it's linked.
President, don't put my TikTok.
You can.
Put my Instagram, go on my Instagram
Can't
link.
you just link my Spotify? No, just link the playlist. Don't put my whole Spotify. They can.
Or they'll see who the.
I know,
playlist
but
is
still,
from.
I like a lot of other Screamo, screaming, whatever, loud bands. I got a playlist on Spotify. He's gonna link it in his bio or whatever.
That's a good point, though, your Screamo playlist, because I just made a Screamo playlist a couple days ago, which is true, and I haven't promoted it because I'm just adding tunes to it, so I'll put that in my description. That pretty much wraps up this whole video, and it was fun talking about Screamo and hearing just all the great bands that are coming up right now and different, subgenres and adjacent bands and stuff like that. So thank you, Hannah, for coming.
Thanks for having me again.
I'll put my Spotify in the description. I'll put her playlist in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for existing. Like and subscribe. Keep the music alive. Hannah is not a guy. Can I put that?
Yeah.
Okay, fire.